2023 season? It is time to meet some familiar faces, to discover who the next legends and icons will be. Today, we meet our 10 teams who are beginning their journey to our season finals right here in our studio. The 2023 format has been revamped and revitalized with the Winter Split, the Spring Split, the Summer Split. And the 3 split champions will be joined by 3 of the best teams in the LEC and will be competing in Montpellier, Occitane for the season grand finals and the title of being crowned the EMEA 2023 champion. They will have the honor of hoisting this, the LEC trophy. Do not touch that browser. The LEC season starts right now.
You can hear a very lively crowd here in Berlin, back in the LEC studio, ready for our first 2 teams. I'm Drakos, that's Caedrel.
Banger. That was a good intro. I don't think there's any more to say, really.
There's not really. Also, because I'm not entirely sure we know how to cast, but the fans love you anyway. That's an honor.
The crowd here today is unreal, unrelenting. I can tell you all day they're going to have energy to just scream out team names. A lot of G2 fans as well, so the first game will be very, very loud. And Excel with a revamped roster. The Analyst desk has touched on it plenty. Yeah. Lots of pieces from different teams, similar to the era of Fnatic, you know, where they take Wunder from G2. You've got Humanoid coming from Mad. Just picking the best players from certain teams, putting them together and seeing if the cocktail will work.
And I'm really excited for this team because up until last year when Odoamne was able to win in summer, this is so many players who we've known are at the peak, top 2, top 3 in their position, who were not able to transition that into greater success, not able to lock down those trophies. So Vetheo, a guy who obviously made his name a lot last year, being that MVP for Misfits alongside Patrik, who's been so consistent. You've had the pleasure of playing with him. Odoamne now as well, a title winner. I'm ready to see what this Excel lineup could do. On the other side, G2, Titanic potential, no doubt, but will they live up to it is the big question, I think, on everyone's mind.
Straight into draft. Wow, it's been a while since we've cast together. I think the last time we cast together was the World Semis 3 or 4 months ago, so a little bit of rust to shake off.
But if I bring up Deft, just know that I'm just getting it out of my system.
You just got the prep. I mean, they're the same champions, basically, right? So you didn't have to drop the prep too much. Bans coming in, Caitlyn, Maokai, Ryze, Sylas. A little targeted ban there at caps for the Sylas. Bot lane will be very high prio. There's the Yumi ban. And as always, there's the cheer. Is Lucian Nami going to get targeted here by G2? Is that going to be something that they're going to try to ban away? Kassadin, we've seen rise up as more of a blind pick later on in the draft. There's the Lucian ban. Do you go Zeri Lulu? Do you still go in that direction? Varus is really strong. We've also seen things like Ashe, Heimerdinger, which is still quite valuable. Any kind of pushing bot lane is where they lean towards. But Wukong for Xerxe. I think that was his most played champion in the 2022 season. Obviously, was meta alongside things like Diego, and that's where he found a lot of his success.
And to be fair, so many people banded out against him, and I think he was really the best Wukong individually in our league. Now, wasn't always able to show it, partly because it was banned, partly because his team wasn't always performing, but ready to see if he's still got what it takes to really make an impact on this champion. On the opposite side, quick, easy Heimer lock-in. I hate this champion. I hate playing against it, but as long as I'm not in the game, I love watching it because it can do so much work.
There's Caps and Ivia being teased from MSI. Is it just me, or is that Heimer portrait just so zoomed in on his face? Is just even cuter. I don't know. It's just so large. Anyway,
everyone else gets a full body shot. Heimer is like just the stash and the goggles.
The stash and goggles absolutely dappered out. So what's Excel's pick here? They have to go something into Ashe, Heimerdinger. So much push. Do you match it with something like Varus Karma that can push back? Do you go for a Lulu lane and just tank the early game and play the Zeri Lulu and get pushed in? Looks like they're the ones who want to look to push back.
And I like the choice to a match here, at least with a Varus pick. I would love to see the support come in as well, because getting that pool pinched in the second phase could be pretty disastrous.
We saw Jhin support into Heimerdinger. I'm not sure if we'll see it again. Targamas is one of those players who I look at to pull out these pocket picks.
Yeah.
If they do want to go for Varus Jhin bot lane to try to push back. But Syndra, such a powerful champ on the current patch. Reworked, has much better scaling, 2 points in 2 Qs to work with in fights. A little bit of an execute on her ult as well. Vetheo's bread and butter. I think this is one of his favorite champions. Will Caps respond here with mid? Will G2 look to respond in jungle? A couple questions here. K'Sante is still open, which has been an early rotation in the LCK and the LPL.
Graves, the hover for now. Taking their time really debating on this final pick. Going to lock in the Graves. Clearly Caps confident enough in his champion pool that he has more than 2 options to go up into the Syndra, as Excel could just opt to target ban him out. I like grabbing the Graves here. Definitely a lot of setup for this champion in bot lane. We'll see where he wants to put his attention.
I can tell we're a little bit rusty because you said Lissandra instead of Syndra, but we're shaking it off the Syndra.
I'm talking about what I want to see.
I want to see it too.
You know what I mean?
You know, Caps just saying back to Lissandra straight to Vetheo, you know? Just dropping the memes.
That was not my point.
But Graves hasn't seen much presence in pro play, but it's really strong in solo queue. It's a very selfish jungler, power farm, take kills, take resources, kind of, you know, when you think of the old school Graves of self-mid in Fnatic, you play things like Karma mid to support it. I wonder if that's the direction that G2 will go in. Galio is quite viable right now in the current meta, so it could work well with the Graves, but a pushing bot lane and a farming jungler right now. Excel have a lot of team fight to work with. Renekton and Gnar are kind of like the top blinds right now. I think that's the direction that Odoamne might lean towards, unless the K'Sante is up. With the J-Span, I think maybe G2 are the ones who want to take away the Gnar. We'll see.
Yeah, and I feel like G2 have put themselves in a pretty powerful position because they can counterpick mid and then respond to Excel's last 2 picks to just really ensure as many winning lane matchups as humanly possible here, whether they do want to go for something utility in the mid lane like the Galio to further set up Yike to be kind of the central focus in terms of getting resources, getting that support to gank mid lane, or put that focus somewhere else. I'm kind of hoping for something spicy between Odoamne and BrokenBlade in terms of picks, but given the sheer quantity of like bruisery champions on the top side, I think it's going to be pretty hard to see anything truly flashy today.
Yeah, Aatrox is another one. Gwen ban is something that you would pick into the Aatrox. Karma ban, of course, to stop the Varus Karma. Jax so powerful in this patch, instantly picked up there by BrokenBlade. Not even going to counterpick mid. They're not even going to counterpick top, sorry. They're just going to instantly lock in the Jax. So how does Odoamne respond? Will he go for something safe like the Gnar, something ranged? Or will he go for something like the Fiora, a bit more of a skill matchup? Gragas is another champion that does really well into the Jax. Just bodies, you know, belly bop him the second he jumps in, run away, never take the fight, play for team fights, disrupt the enemy backline.
And I really love playing for team fights with the Gragas because the disruption against 2 immobile champions like the Heimerdinger, like the Ashe, can be so incredibly impactful, especially when you have a lot of raw burst damage coming out. Instead, however, opting for the K'Sante, still very strong. He's been hit with the nerf bat a number of times, but especially in the AD matchups where he's so comfortable to get that Iceborne Gauntlet early, it's just a really no-brainer pick.
So what's Targamas' pick here? Karma's banned, and if you want to play a Varus lane and get the push, you're going to have to go something like Jhin. We've seen Azir support as well. I think it was Demacia Cup into Heimerdinger to try and push back. Anything to kill the turrets and just keep Heimerdinger. Yeah, there's the Jhin support. He's gone for it.
There it is.
I thought Targamas would be the one in Europe to try to pull it out, so we'll see how he performs on it. Really good pick potential with Wukong and Syndra as well. The W from long range is so powerful, and the ult on side lanes can help the Syndra in the 1v1 to get the kills. Now, side lane is one thing, but Caps wants to play for team fights by the looks of it. Viktor, quite good into Syndra, good wave clear, can outrange her a little bit, poke her down with the E, of course. Need to be careful though, because the mid jungle of G2 is quite weak, but they have a lot of setup from bot lane, so they need that bot lane to impact the game.
Absolutely do. Curious to see how Yike is going to perform in this position where he's just been set up to kind of power farm. Does have good setup in top lane as well as in bot lane if he wants to try to go for early ganks, early action there. Depends on where he wants to put his focus. But as you highlighted, not nearly as many aggressive engage tools on the side of G2. You've got Jax leaping in with the counter-strike. You've really got the Ashe arrow from range. Everything else, G2 really wants you to be fighting into them, which means getting pushed, getting prio, getting control of objectives first is going to be massive.
Exactly right. 4 range champions against Wukong. Their only direction they're going is backwards. They need to run away and kite the Wukong. But I love the drafts we've we've seen here already. There's no Lucian Nami versus Zeri Yuumi. There's no Vi versus Maokai. There's no Azir. You know, we've got a lot of action, a lot of engage, a lot of range from bot lane specifically to try to catch out the top side of each other's map. So we'll see how they do it. We'll see which one gets the push, and I expect both junglers to focus down there. Top lane will be favored to the Jax later on, but it's day one, it's week one, it's the LEC, and we are back. This is going to be a banger of a game. Revitalized G2 and a miniature super team built up by Excel.
Debate on the fist bump or the handshake, trying to figure it out here in the final moments before we do get in the game. Pressure on both sides here. Want to hit the ground running in this new format. Only 3 weeks. Try to find as many wins as possible. All you have to do is secure top 8, so just can't fall too far behind here. Obviously, both these teams want to show what they've got. G2 been telling us a lot about how good scrims have been going. Time to put that to the test here on stage.
Yeah. And in the offseason, you thought, you know, maybe Caps would be alone, but Mikyx has rejoined him from the 2019 era. He wasn't alone on that bench, and now he's come back. I love Handsama's hair as well, I must say. Nice little scarlet red.
And apparently we have a pause. So we have another moment to talk to you. This is our pause voice. It's soft and non-threatening.
Welcome to the Euphoria Podcast,
Welcome to the Euphoria
episode 3, season
Today we're going to be talking about hair game. Hansama in the lead. Color important here on the Euphoria Hair Podcast.
Have we got any other...
We can't go off topic yet. It's been 30 seconds. Have a break.
Give it a minute.
So here's the thing that I'm really excited to see is I think that on paper you can always look at a draft like this and we know where the pressure is going to go most likely. We know who the center focus is going to be and how the team fights are going to be played out. But individual lane matchups are what I'm really ready for, especially when we look at the bottom lanes. Targamas, of course, him and Mickey just swapping teams in the season, and I think that the G2 bot lane last season, Targamas and FLICKR, did have some struggles, and I'm ready to see what Targamas can now do alongside Patrik. And similarly, Hansama, Mikyx. This is a lane that in 2018 was killing everybody in lane. Draven, Morgana, what they were known for. So I don't want to see passive push lane here, even though that's kind of what we're set up for, until a jungler decides to rear his head down the bottom side. I want to see a lot of kill pressure. I want to see some 2v2s, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're set up on both sides for sure at level 6 too. Both junglers will be looking down there. Whichever one gets the push innately has more pressure and can look for the dragons. Bot lane's been shaken up a lot in Europe, hasn't it? With Reckless coming back, Unforgiven disappearing, but
here we go!
Ready to jump into game.
It's like boast.
Oh, nice BrokenBlade. Oh, never mind.
G2 fans in the house, you might have missed it, but we had the Excel Esports la 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 chant. And the HUD a little bit off at this exact moment in time. I promise you none of those champions are dead. Oh, there you go.
They're back alive.
They're back alive.
Respawned on the spot. And I don't think we'll see anything level 1. Normally what happens in these kind of games with Heimerdinger specifically is the enemy team will go 5-man bot to kill these towers to stop him from getting pushed on the first wave. But Excel haven't decided to do that. Instead, they're hovering around top, trying to spot out Yike, see where he's going to start.
Trying to get as much information as humanly possible. And surprising to see them not try to contest those towers just a little bit more. Reminds me back to when Zyra was really meta. You really had to fist fight in that level 1 because it could fall apart so quickly. But Ashe and Jhin, enough range that they're not too concerned. We'll be able to walk up uncontested and take those tower. Hansama going for a bit of an aggressive trade here. Mikyx just zooming forward, dropping a tower. He doesn't care. He's just ignoring Jhin to run at Patrik.
He just ran straight towards the Varus and put turrets in his face. Managed to get 2 potions out of him already. You can tell there's a lot of poke in this lane just by the item purchases. Longsword triple pot for both sides. Hans and Mickey already with the early pressure. The Jhin support, I think you look to max W, and then you put a couple points in Q to try to kill the towers with a Q auto attack. Dark Harvest for the finish. But both junglers, as expected, pathing towards the bot side. We'll see how quickly they want to get down here. Yike skipping Crux means he can go for Gromp, and they could even set up for an early dive if they stack the wave properly. Maybe he can even walk into the enemy jungle. Is Yike just gonna... I think he's just going to walk in and see if he can contest the red. It's very common in the LPL especially to just do 3 or 2 camps and just run into the enemy jungle. Start a fight. Play on the lane that you have prior one. And Xerxe will be level 3, but Yike might take away his red buff first. Veteo's checking.
Plus the Ashe.
Yeah, so much vision.
And the sheer amount of utility in this bot lane is just incredible. Between the CC, between the extra vision, Yike now taking Krugs. This is the dive or potential dive you were talking about.
So what he's done is he's going to Krugs because he needs level 3. I think red buff won't give it to him because he did buff and Raptors. This Krugs will level him up, and he has a ward on red. So he might dash over towards red and fight Xerxe when he starts it up. And Mickey's ready to move.
BrokenBlade, Odoamne level 2. Will it be the soul? He's waiting.
Game of chicken there. BrokenBlade's just pressing S to see if he will flash.
gonna happen, but now fist fight in the jungle, no red buff for Xerxe. Yike coming around the corner, right into melee range. Xerxe gonna be hurting after that one, has to leave out. Same thing with the stun. Mikyx reads the play perfectly.
Beautiful, really good stun there by Mikyx. Gets Xerxe's flash, and it's not the end of the world for Xerxe. He's losing 2 camps, but he gets out with his life. You could see that was a really interesting happening of events there, as Mikyx just stood in tri-bush for the last minute, for the last couple of waves, just ready to react when Yike starts a fight. And now Yike will take away that red, take away the Crux, and move back into his own jungle. This is the power of bot push. Excel struggling to get their own.
And I think between the individual proficiency of Hansam and Mikyx kind of getting that really positive trade early on, Yike now coming bottom lane, it just makes it so hard for Excel. If they did have an early game plan, they are no longer in control. They are no longer in the driver's seat because G2 are essentially dictating the pace of the game. Xerxe is moving back up to the top side, but there's not really a lot there for him. In the meantime, Yike now coming down. Targamas and Patrik still stepping forward. Smoke screen goes. Instant flash out from Patrik. Good damage, good fall. Flash forward. Auto. Is it enough? I don't think so. Red buff ticking, ticking. Not going to finish the job. Yike, a little overconfident there, but does trade flash for flash. 14 HP remaining on Patrik.
Debut game there. Yike on the player cam had a little cheeky smile. Didn't manage to get the kill. That's one of those moments where there's no comms and trust. And he flash autos, hoping that maybe Hans or Mikyx will do the same so they can finish the kill. Or he thought that he had the damage. So Xerxe greedily goes topside. His bot lane was really vulnerable. Ignores them, goes and says, I need to get myself ahead. Takes away Yike's camps. Won't hurt him too much. He'll lose Krugs and Raptors. He got red and Krugs, so in the end it's an even trade overall. But Yike forcing out those summoners in bot. He'll pay a revisit down there, and that ward over the wall from Caps is just going to spot out Xerxe. So G2 playing with a lot of information, but look at top lane. A little bit more push here for Odo. We saw a struggling trade, stacking wave. A little bit of pressure up here means that Xerxe can take these camps. If he'd had no push and BrokenBlade went into his own jungle looking for Xerxe, he would have fallen so far behind.
Which makes the earlier top play where Odo was able to hold onto his flash that much more crucial. At least a little bit of glimmer of hope here for XL in the early game, because when we look at the bot lane situation, it's not Yike who really got the big advantage there. He's about even with Xerxe overall. It is the bot lane. Hansam 31-18 in terms of raw CS numbers. On top of that, you got Varus putting himself a little bit further behind by going for the tier early on. Great for the poke build, obviously, but less immediate raw stats up against the Ashe is going to make trading very difficult. Odo feeling confident here. Q3 up and available, but not going to overcommit on the trade.
G2 just constantly invading bot side. Yike and Mikyx teaming up. Vetheo and Xerxe around. Caps is matching. Needs to be careful here.
Good bit of poke. Vetheo has the setup. Scatter Leak not going to come out quite yet. Xerxe just trying to retreat here. Targamas in the area. Jhin getting the root, but doesn't really match the damage of the Heimerdinger quite yet, so not doing a whole ton, but that could just be enough. Yike! Cut down, first blood, and it's clean. XL quick on the rotation there, and you can see just over-committing. Bit of a pause coming out.
We got a pause. I wonder who it was that paused. I can see the ref talking to XL, so it must be, I think Xerxe is chatting to him, so Yike didn't have any issues there. It was a clean kill, but it's XL who look like they have the issue. A lot of aggression from Yike. This guy, I think he spent more time in the enemy jungle than his own jungle. And this is one of those things from scrims where you just keep bringing your support, keep invading, aggression, 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 push them out, dive the lane, but that kind of flow is gone now. They got the camps, they got the sums, and now he's dead. First blood over to XL is going to really relieve the pressure on XL's bot lane.
Which is massive now. And we'll see when we get back in the game. We'll keep you guys updated as to the nature of the pause. And if we get a chance to take a look at that replay, because, yeah, it's just a moment of overextending. Now, I will say, when you're a rookie on stage, I would always rather see you play too aggressive than not aggressive enough. That was not a good play from Yike. He does get caught out. He does get punished. But ultimately, if you never try, you're not going to know those limits. You're not going to test those limits. And more often than not, when we see rookies struggle on the stage, it's because they're too scared to do anything, not because they're, you know, maybe a little over-aggressive in the jungle.
Better to be a bit overconfident, because you can reel it in, tone it back a bit, not go for those extra camps. Those Raptors were a little bit greedy. I think level 5 Syndra versus level 5 Viktor, the amount of impact from mid especially was very heavily in XL's favor in terms of chain CC and burst. And Yike uses E forwards to try and take the Raptor, and then Vetheo just kind of wanders in and stuns him and says, what are you doing, mate? And gets the kill. So XL,
yeah, we're taking a look at the replay here. We have at least another minute here on the pause while we sort through the issue. I'll keep you guys updated as we go. And you can see initially, feels very, very positive, but then Yike caught out here, over-committing. I think baited into a false insecurity. It easily could have been Mikyx taken down there as well. Just the sheer amount of burst damage present between those characters, more than enough to solo out one of those individual champions.
Yeah, it'll only get worse for G2 because the Jhin is really powerful at setting up picks. If you face check a bush with Syndra in it, or if she can land a Q on you and the Jhin roots you, then all the skill shots are going to hit. So oftentimes, I think it was in the LCK, I can't remember exactly which team played it, but one team did play Jhin support. I want to say it's live randomly. Anyway, the side lane fights happened. Jhin just stood behind the mid laner, and as soon as a spell landed, W landed, ult, and it's so much burst. It's almost like a cover on a side lane for picks. So we'll see how XL use it.
And I really like it because it amplifies the poke of the lethality Varus, at least so you can assume that's what we're going to be getting here based on the early itemization. Because if he hits a Q at all, you get a root, or if you're able to hit something else and then root, he immediately gets the free Q. So very, very punishing for a lot of these squishier champions. Not going to be as big of a concern for Jax unless they fall very far behind. But as you were talking about earlier, Life, the one to really bring it out. And build, when we want to talk about it, no surprise seeing BrokenBlade.
Yeah, looking at the build here for Jhin support, he went for Umbral Glaive into Chainsword, Dark Harvest, and just Spoof to Swiftness, of course, on Jhin, just rolling around the side lanes, helping Xerxe out. Sylas a bit more of a, in that game that Life was playing with Sylas, a bit more of a scrappy champion, but Syndra still has tools to set up. So we'll see if we can get this problem solved, get Xerxe back in, early lead to Excel, but we'll see if G2 keep up the aggression. I think top lane is just going to be its own island for the rest of the game, and Caps is going to be weaker than Vetheo in the early stages, so they need to be really careful around playing through mid to bot, rather than playing through bot to mid, where they really have that pressure where initially Yike went down to the Crux.
And if we come into an even mid game here, I actually really like what Excel have going on because they're just going to be able to one-shot the vast majority of the champions of the G2 lineup. Like, maybe Yike has enough armor with True Grit, maybe with early itemization they'll be able to survive, but Syndra, Varus, Jhin, I mean, you kill anybody if they wander into the wrong thing, if they overextended mid lane at all, if they overcommit. And that kill really did relieve so much of that pressure. Bot lane's still going to be struggling. Hansama will have to see what he is able to do because I am very used to just seeing Ashe throw arrows and let someone else do the work. Yeah. But I think with this kind of lead, you're going to need to see more because that is ultimately where G2 chose to invest their time, chose to invest their resources. So definitely want to see the Ashe performance be immaculate, want to be weaving those autos in, want to be maximizing that DPS. Seems like we're still sorting through what is potentially a comms issue on stage.
Yeah, but just going back to something you said, this is just an important game to hit the ground running. You know, for G2, it's about having Yike, having a rookie, having a good debut to set the momentum forwards, and then for XL saying, you know what, this formula does work. We're not going to fall apart in the first few weeks. How many times have we seen teams built to succeed that fall apart in week one? You know, you think back to Vitality last year. Every super week.
Well, and the biggest thing here is our new format. It's forgiving in some ways because all you have to do is make it to top 8 in order to make it to the next stage. But if you start really badly in week one, if your read on the meta is wrong, if you lose however many weeks of practice you had before coming into the season because your read is wrong, that can be devastating. We're only playing on 2 patches, right? So it's not like other seasons where maybe we've seen teams that ultimately didn't place super highly at the end of the season start really strong and then fade off as other people catch up. There's not time to catch up.
Single round robin.
There's 3 weeks. 3 days each week, 9 games. That is all you get to try to lock into top 8. And again, top 8 much easier to make than top 6, but still a lot of pressure. And then you're immediately into a new patch and best of 3s. So the pace of these seasons is insane compared to last year. There's no more week 5, week 6. Oh, great. Yeah, maybe if they win 12 games in a row, they'll be able to make playoffs.
It's happened a couple times, though. You know, those teams that just pull it out of nowhere. You know, I think there was teams.
But now...
Even, do you remember, there was an era of Fnatic, I think it was a split that I was playing in. They started out 0-6 or something, and then they bounced back really quickly. So some teams can struggle in the first few weeks, whether it's meta read, team synergy, just overall lack of stage performance, despite having good scrims, for example. It can really destroy your split.
Yeah. Definitely could be devastating. In the meantime, while we do appear to be having an extended pause, we're going to send it over to Vedius, who's going to take us through some stuff from that game. Or just talk about anything.
Maybe you can sing Heartbreaker.
Sing us a song,
Sing
Vedi.
Heartbreaker, Vedi.
Sing for us, Vedi.
In any songs, gentlemen. Listen, I'm here to do some hardcore analysis. We're back in the LEC, and we are experiencing some technical issues. So while we get those resolved, you're going to be chilling with me for a little while as we go through some of this really great early game stuff that we've already been seeing from Yike. So it all starts with this bot lane. The casters set it up beautifully. They were looking to try and get this advantage in the bot side of the map, and I'm here joined by my observers. Hey, observers, they're going to shake the screen and say hello for me. Thank you very much. They're going to be talking. They're going to be listening along with me, and we're going to be going through some of this early gameplay stuff and highlighting some of the cool stuff that G2 is already doing. So, observers, if you can start rolling this one out, and I'm going to start explaining. Basically, G2 is looking to gain control in this lane right from level 1. Ashe Heimerdinger is something that you guys have already seen from the World Championship, can be very dominant in the 2 versus 2. And even though Mikyx is losing HP, it's giving space for Hansama to have control over the lane and get this push. Observers, if you can now go up towards the jungler, you'll see that he is now clearing his red. They do get a little bit of information as to where he is, thanks to this blue ward that has been spotted out by G2. And he's doing his best to kite away from it, not give that much information. But what he's going to do off the back of this is the great thing about having prio lanes when you're Graves is you kind of get to do whatever it is that you want. Now, if we, as we follow Graves, highlight this ward that's going to come up right in his vision, and if we can pause it very briefly here, what G2 know from this ward is that Xerxe did not start on the bot side of the map. They know that he's clearing his top side camps, and they were curious as to like what type of pathing he's doing. The fact that he's not on these Raptors yet suggests that he is doing a full top side clear. Yike recognizes that thanks to the push that he has in the bot lane, Mikyx can actually move up to assist him if they actually want to do anything creative. But as Caedrel was highlighting, they're looking to set up the dive. So as we now roll this clip out and we keep things going, Yike is going to use the Krugs to get that early level advantage and actually start threatening a dive. And look at what they're doing. Pause it right here. Mikyx is offering assistance and cover to Yike, utilizing this brush right here, putting this little, whoa, that's a big circle. I'll use the line instead. Yeah, our observers are highlighting it for us as well. Using this little turret to give him a little bit of information as to what this bot lane exactly is doing, while Hansama is continuing to keep pressure on. He's utilizing his poke to keep these two underneath the tower. Now, as we clear this out, I want to move up to Xerxe, because as Yike is clearing this out, Xerxe's now getting a little bit suspicious. What exactly is Yike up to? He knows that he has a bot lane pushing, and perhaps Yike could actually look for an invade. So we don't need to keep talking because the teams are ready. So thank you for joining me. Let's get straight back into the game without further delay.
Faker, you faker. Sing, Betty! The people want the song!
Where's the song?
The breakdown was good too, though.
Yeah, loved it.
He's not coming back, guys. He won't sing the song.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can you get him to run on center
when we
stage
get in the
with just a
studio, he's
handheld
like,
mic?
I want to sing the song. We get onto this studio, he's like, I don't want to sing the song. I'm just saying, that's inconsistent. Anyway.
We're back. We're back in business. Okay, so taking stock. Yike just died. He's coming out of base. Kill
Mikyx,
went over.
Big stun. Good bit of poke.
No
Patrik,
flash.
No flash. Cleanse coming out here. Flash for Hansama. Instantly they're going to grab the kill. Targamas now trying to fire back. But instantly slowed down. Lockup is there. Targamas.
Has the ignite, but he's not in range to drop the ignite. So Summoner's blown there. Patrik really late on the cleanse. I don't think he cleansed anything. He could have cleansed the stun, but he thought he was fine. Hands flashes forwards. Waves in a horrible spot for Excel's bot lane as well. Odo TP's mid. I wonder if... Why did Odo TP mid? He's not going to go back top, it looks like. He's just catching a wave and then he runs up by the looks of it.
Just trying to relieve pressure maybe from Vetheo so Vetheo can get his base off. Not entirely clear.
Not entirely clear. Didn't get anything mid, but he did TP there. So BrokenBlade just TP'd back as well. Top is in an even state, but yeah, there's the lead already for G2's bot lane as we expected.
Which is big, again, because while Yike was able to put down a lot of early pressure, we said it just moments ago, he did die, and Excel were actually 500 gold ahead up until that bottom lane play. Hansama able to grab that kill alongside Mikyx, clutch grenade there to secure the stun, and now just keeping the pressure on here in bottom lane.
No flash.
Trap gonna slow him down, the grenade not gonna connect, and really not a lot else here for G2 to grab. Is Hansama just gonna catch this wave?
Yeah, both of them had no flash and they wanted to crash the wave. It looked like Yike wanted to set up a gank there with Mikyx, but the trap slowed Mikyx down so he couldn't land the stun. So Yike's going back to clearing his camps. I think bot lane is just going to be the sole focus now for G2. I mean, they've been doing it since the start of the game. I think they're going to continue doing it. But for Excel, this top side seems to be in a good state. Their mid jungle should win when Wukong hits level 6. Odoamne is holding up against BrokenBlade and is managing to get the push, small CS lead. And Caps on this Viktor will be strong in teamfights, but he needs time. So can Excel break the game through mid and start shutting down this bot lane of G2? With hands, no flash, maybe they can look to set something up when Xerxe gets that Cyclone.
I think it does put a lot of pressure here on the top side of Excel, especially with their bottom lane suffering to generate bigger leads than what they've already been able to accrue as Odoamne and BrokenBlade trading back and forth, because we know the later we get, the stronger the Jax and the Viktor are going to feel. I think Cassante doesn't match up pretty well, and new Syndra also definitely scales or feels a little bit better in the mid to late game than the old Syndra did, but still just a tough task when Viktor can Q auto you in a late game and one-shot you.
Don't forget to ping wards, gives you 5 gold now. I think Yike did just ping that ward. +5, maybe he doesn't have sweeper. Maybe I think he does have sweeper coming up so he can get the ward anyway, but always got to ping those wards. One thing I did want to touch on quickly is just how G2 did work last year. It wasn't ever really about bot lane, it was about bot lane playing.
Arrow from downtown to connect the fall, the stun, the grenade, it's a perfect combo, and down goes Vetheo!
He can't move! Leave him alone! Vetheo, no counterplay, doesn't have cleanse. Chain CC, just has to sit there watching his screen. Mikyx though has flash, Xerxe.
So just get taken out here. Xerxe now following up, waiting, holding onto the ult as long as possible. They don't want to overcommit. I think taking a lot more damage than they expected from Mikyx there on that rotation. BrokenBlade on the way down, level 8. Odoamne behind him.
Okay, it's a 3v4. Looks like they don't want to opt into it. Vetheo's not there. I'm surprised Xerxe didn't go for the all-in there on Mikyx, get the knock-up into some kind of Jhin route, but nevertheless, they don't even get Mikyx's flash from that. G2 get the Herald. They got what they came for, and you saw earlier on, Yike was trying to start up Dragon as well. Looks like their early priority is on those neutral objectives with these pushing lanes. But that relieves a lot of pressure mid there, that arrow.
It does. And I mean, 1.5k gold lead this early in the game is pretty big as we take a look back at this play.
And Sama bowling here, gets the strike. Oof, nowhere. I mean, Vetheo has about a second there to flash, react to it. There's the Analyst desk.
There's the Analyst desk.
Looking intently at that kill.
They were going to tell us what they thought of that arrow, but all they had to say was nice. So we didn't open their mics.
Ooh, Odo got BrokenBlade flash. Hang on a second, Odo.
Oh, here, Odoamne, can he just take him down? He's going to try to get one more. No! Oh, his ankles! Oh, God, check his ankles. Are they broken?
Oh, that was so unlucky. Oh, another arrow.
Look at the ball. He's been rooted right in front of his face. Targamas getting cut down, ignited. Just there's the 1v1. But Patrik now firing back. Odoamne done so much damage. Flashed out from Patrik. It's a bloodbath across the map.
Mikyx got rooted up there by the Varus ult, couldn't move. A lot of chain CC from both bot lanes. The support's getting hit by it because of the cleanse on Patrik. Action on both sides. Odoamne so unlucky, couldn't get the kill onto BrokenBlade. Needed one more auto, he thought, as he flashed to hit him. Then BrokenBlade jumped away. Yike there just in time, but even trade in bot.
Crushing there on the top side. Odo, again, supposed to be the stronger point on the map. One auto away from finishing that kill. Now a 2k gold deficit. Side of Excel. Caps trading really aggressively here. Just trying to zone Vetheo out of lane with everything he has. That's the last of his mana. If this does not force Vetheo back, he's going to be in a sticky situation here. He has no more mana. He's got one stack left on the Corrupting Pot.
Yeah, well, he does have TP here, Vetheo. Caps is coming up as well. Can Yike hit him with the ult? Is he going to get the kill?
Gets the flash and thumbs up.
Poor Vetheo, he's playing dodgeball in mid lane. Ashe arrows, Graves ults just flying at him. What I've noticed is Caps and Mikyx just run in straight lines when they want to fight. You know, they don't try and dodge, they just run in a straight line and hit you. So that's a telling tale, but it looks like they'll get the bot side scuttle and they'll look for this dragon.
And this is just an incredibly dominant early game from the side of G2. Lots of little individual outplays, as well as some good map movement. Especially from a rookie jungler. Yike gonna have to hold that thought. Target is now locked up. Instant flash over! There's no fear, there's no hesitation. Yike going for the kill on Targamas.
Oh, Caps has 90 HP. Vetheo, I think he tried to get the kill onto Caps, landed the stun, Caps flashed away. He just about lived. Everyone's living on 1 HP here.
Yike used to smite, no!
Yoink. Xerxe gets it. Takes it away. Nicely highlighted there, Drakos. He used the smite. Was it on Targamas, I think, to get the kill? Yeah. And yeah, Caps almost died. BrokenBlade almost died. These solo lanes for Excel are so close to getting kills, but they're not getting any success.
And I think that Chemtech Drake is big. You know, nice to have the extra power. Nice to be a little bit less annoyed by all the stuns and CC that are going to be coming in here. Overall, though, that was definitely the silver lining of what has slowly been becoming a darker and darker cloud for the side of Excel, because it is still a pretty massive gold difference. You can see 1.1k in the jungle alone. And if it wasn't for, to be honest, kind of an oopsie from Yikes. I don't think he needed the smite in that context. They might have also been able to secure the objective, or at least would have been a true 50-50.
Xerxe has the ult, BrokenBlade has a pink, and he has no flash, but Mikyx just wandering up here, roaming Heimerdinger, going up and down this river. He doesn't...
Hold back under tower, now getting pushed in, now we're going to ult him, just going to keep him there. BrokenBlade living under that tower. Counter-Strike going to stop any potential follow-up here as the rest of G2 showing up in force.
G2 are just everywhere. They're top, they're bot, they're top, they're mid.
Seeding.
They're sending numbers to every single play. So Excel can't cross-map. Mikyx just stopping the enemy jungler from making his own play top. He's just throwing spells at him.
Noxious. And this is uncanny in terms of how much it reminds me of early G2 2019. They're sacking bot lane and they're completely overloading a different side lane. Here we go. No.
He just dies. Well,
we were focused on the arrow. We should have just been watching BB die there.
Odo just solo kills him. You know, if there's an arrow flying through your lane, just solo kill the enemy later, and then you won't have a problem.
Wow,
big kill there for Odo. Got so close to the first solo kill. Now he gets the second. Big plays coming out of the XL top laner, moving from Rogue, of course, and now G2 need to get back towards his bot side, get back towards Hand so he can start pressuring his lane. Top side will abandon that for now, it looks like, for G2.
Yeah, holding off on that one. Odoamne getting the Iceborne Golem, making trading that much easier. It's under, not too surprising. But the good news for the side of Excel, of course, and all of that, you get the solo kill as well as relieve some of the pressure on the bottom lane. G2 still in control overall, but not getting nearly as much as they would have liked from that play.
Mikyx has just been running around the whole map. Level 5 right now at 13 minutes. Caps is level 11. His mid laner is 6 levels up on him right now, so he doesn't really care about experience. He just wants to make sure he's there to shut down plays. He will level up on this wave soon though, and he will join up with Hansama. There's level 6. Now he's going to look for more information. That's all Mikyx's been trying to look for this entire game. Targamas hasn't been able to keep up.
Playing with fire a little bit here. Good movement though to sidestep the snare. That could have been his death.
Yeah, playing with fire indeed.
But level 10 to level 8 is brutal for Patrik right now. Hansama is hitting like a truck.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of experience. Excel need to find something. They need to look for plays. Top's winning in isolation. Great. Do you really want to over-index on that winning lane? No, you need to salvage this bot side. Mikyx's basically laning in between towers against your bot lane in a 2v2, and Yike's taking away your camp. So mid-jungle trying to pair up here, look for something. There's no objective, no dragon for 2 minutes. Targamas is here too, trying to reclaim some vision. But Mikyx's just going to walk in.
He's just going on a walkabout.
He just walks in, puts down the wards, and Excel can't really do anything about it.
This has to be the most obnoxious champion I have ever seen in pro.
It's the walk.
It's the walk. Because at least Yuumi straps herself to someone else, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, I hate Yuumi, but like, you know where she's going to be. It's attached to somebody else. This Heimer can just appear anywhere.
It's the little hop every time he takes a step. Just shoot. Look, Xerxe tries to look for a gank top, and then Mikyx's firing spells over the wall. He's doing it here again in bot lane.
All I'm saying is open your freezer slowly tonight, because if Mikyx's hiding in there, it will not be a surprise.
I just want a replay of this entire game, the adventures of Mikyx, and he's just walking around the entire map, taking everyone's...
Oh, flash out, snap. That's the thing. He's not giving them enough respect.
Catch me if you can.
There you go. Little Leonardo DiCaprio there running around.
Yeah, we'll see if they do catch him. Got his flash now, so that'll be easier to lock him down. But yeah, it's just all about salvaging bot side. But G2 can always be the ones to pull the trigger towards top. Objective spawns, Herald's up. Let's just transition everything up here. Start up the Herald. Yike's incredibly strong. Xerxe can't match. But he is around. We'll see if Odoamne wants to move down. G2's bot lane is also base to move across. Excel's on the way. We might see some kind of 5v5 around this Herald if everyone wants to collapse.
Yike. One camp off, getting the full Primal Smite, which would make it that much easier to secure. Xerxe is still 4 stacks away. Does not want to contest there when it's not really feeling like a true 50-50. Fully upgraded, fully evolved. Can we say that?
Evolved.
Is that all? Fully realized arrow. Flash out from the side. Caps to a big damage on Patrik. There's just nothing. The triple hit on the grenade. The third one going to connect onto Vetheo. Big damage now coming up, but they're not going to finish any kills. Targamas waiting over the wall. Just a lot of poke here from G2, giving them control over the mid lane, allowing them to transition down to the bottom side. Some of that wasn't English, don't.
And the adventures of Mikyx continue as he walks into the enemy jungle once again, straight onto Xerxe.
Fearless. Forcing the flash. The grenades have been immaculate. Hansama still playing with confidence here. Gets locked up, gets stunned.
That's flash.
They don't want to commit.
They can't gap close. XL can never commit. The flashes are just constantly blown from arrows, from Heimerdinger. Ults with the E just bouncing across the lane. Caps just forcing the play. You got Yike with the... It's 4 range champions, and they need to get on top of them, but Mikyx flanking. No, just putting a little bit of turret down to get some information. XL need to find a way to get on top of G2 because they still have their summoners up. Well, Mikyx blew his earlier, but they can't commit.
And it's just so hard right now because they don't really have that much control over the map. They haven't taken a single tower. They can't set up flanking TP wards for the Cassante. Xerxe with no flash means he's going to have such a hard time fighting an off angle. If you get Odoamne or Xerxe on a flank, you have a chance in a fight, but as we highlighted in the draft, you can't walk into Ashe, Heimerdinger, Viktor and expect anything but death.
Well, Vetheo being annoyed by these towers.
The level 11 Syndra is scared to walk into the level 6 Heimer. Why is this allowed?
This is great. I love this. Mikyx's just owning every side of the jungle he walks into. It's the strut, just little hopping straight in there. No one can answer it. But now the game goes into the mid game. No more lane phase. Hansama and Patrik are going to match in mid. A little bit of a 1-3-1. Caps in bot. TPs are very important. Baron spawning in around 2 minutes time. And we'll see how G2 dissect it. What they ideally want to look for is picks, but XL need to start forcing summoners out of G2 because once you get Hansama's flash or you get Yike's flash, walking into the enemy jungle becomes a lot more difficult because you can be punished so easily. If you land a Varus ult or a Syndra stun, they are dead.
Back and forth top side, BrokenBlade. More natural sustain, but has to be careful about these all-ins here from Cassante. That's all out from Odoamne. Now committing gets the reset on the W. Now BrokenBlade leaping in for the stun, but he can't commit for anything else. BrokenBlade still standing for big damage. Yike coming in, says not today on that 1v1.
That was a gentleman's 1v1. A lot of outplays from both sides. BrokenBlade flashing the Q3, going back in. Odo flashing the stun, then dashing back in. It was on a knife's edge, but Yike just comes in and says, nope, my kill. And Mikyx fighting the enemy mid-jungle. Has no flash yet.
The stun going to go down, but it's not going to matter. The Wukong just keeps spinning.
And for the first time, Mikyx gets punished. Walking into the enemy jungle, Excel pick up that kill. I'd love to see the replay of that top fight because there were so many minute things that swung in either favor. But look at the gold. 2.5k gold lead to Yike already.
Ooh.
That's
the damage there. Even at a deficit, obviously, the lethality Varus just hits so hard from such a long range. Has to be respected. Total control of the mid lane, something that Hansama really cannot match. Doesn't have the wave clear. Now we see the 1v1 again.
Yeah, 2 top lane. Viktor just going at it 1v1. Extremely close. Odoamne is going to go behind BrokenBlade here and ult him into the tower to try to get extra damage onto him. Then he gets the bonus damage, loses a little bit of HP from the Syndra W. Then here comes the flash on the Q3, then the dash away from the stun, not being tower range. Then the Q flash to try to pick up the kill, and he could chase here perhaps, but then here comes Yike and gets the kill. BrokenBlade really low. There's a possibility that BrokenBlade turns with the WQ there, empowered and kills Odoamne, but it's really, really close, hard to tell.
Very, very close. Looking back, of course, looks like he might have missed a single Q. Odoamne thrown in the wrong direction. Not sure if the back end of that hitbox managed to hit BrokenBlade as well, but that was absolutely, well, at least until Yike showed up, a game of inches. Now on the top side, BrokenBlade, he's got Divine Sunderer. Now usually you can build Blade of the Rune King or tank, and he's chosen, well, half of the tank route. What's going on now for the Zhonya's? Obviously just an insanely powerful item generally, and Xerxe has probably been highlighted in numerous of your solo queue games. Can go AP now. I don't like it. Don't think it's as good as normal Xerxe, but the AP ratios are so high that I think building Zhonya's never feels bad, and Zhonya's probably the single most powerful active in the game, so...
Yeah, the stats are just really good for him ever since the changes, and also the Zhonya's buys you more time to get another E off in another in a team fight to get another combo. So we'll see how he uses it. A little bit of focus up towards his top side for Excel, and I don't think they can look for a dive. BrokenBlade is quite tanky if he gets his ult on both of them. Xerxe doesn't have Herald, he's just gonna walk up and hit it. And Mikyx on the way to push them back. His hand's gonna fire the arrow. Yes, he is. Is it gonna land is the question. I think it's gonna miss.
Up, just a little bit wide there.
Picks is what both these teams want to look for. Excel looking for the G2 top laner. G2 looking to respond on their own. Dragon a piece, 1 minute 20 seconds on the next Dragon will be very far away from a soul for either side. It's just top side vision contest. Targamas on the way up here. If BrokenBlade stays, he could get no. Here's the TP from Caps.
Big stun gonna lock down Vetheo for now. Targamas in the area, but Caps just gonna walk in here, throw down his ultimate, try to burn down Vetheo before he can even get the ulti off there. He's gonna throw it out, but Caps still standing. Roa keeping him so healthy. He's just so tanky, getting out to safety with the flash. Odoamne now coming over the wall. Odoamne looking for a way out of this one. He goes all out. He pulls him back in. The stun now going down. Odoamne's managed to find one. He has a lot of vamp here, but it will not be enough to live. G2 taking the exchange.
3 for 1. Are they going to go for Baron as well? I think they are. They have the ults from Heimerdinger if they want to place the tower down. Not much Excel's bot lane can do here to contest. They have flashes if they want to try something, get some poke down onto them. Very risky though, because the Heimer ult is still up, I believe. There's
1,
the
2,
grenade.
3. The stun now going to connect onto Patrik. That's going to be big. They're getting slow, losing a lot of health, just trying to approach the pit. There is nothing here for them short of a miracle steal. They will not find it. Yike securing his first Baron in the LEC.
And that comes off the back of Excel being the ones to look for the play. They were the ones who tried to force something on the top side. Caps on Viktor, just TPs behind them. Quite tanky with this Rod of Ages build. It hasn't kicked in yet with the extra level on 10 stacks, but does have so much health in the sense that he can just walk into Excel and there's no actual lockdown. There's no Syndra E. The Jhin can't really stop the Viktor, and he manages to take down Vetheo, kite out the rest of Excel. And now BrokenBlade is looking for a pick of his own onto Xerxe.
Wandering through. At this point, he's pretty tanky, pretty difficult to one-shot. A lot of the poke threat, a lot of the pick potential of this XL composition has just been mitigated by how well G2 have been picking their fights and finding individual weak points.
Yeah.
You know, when we look back at that last exchange, it's just so hard if Vetheo is not able to use his entire combo to just burn through the health bar of Caps. Things are only going to get harder too from here because now G2 have the Baron. They have the luxury of moving forward into these towers without XL really being able to stop them. And if Excel want to fight, they have to fight into, again, Ashe, Heimerdinger, Viktor, which outside of these really long-range poke tools, like the Varus, they don't really have a lot of good options.
It's going to turn into a little bit of an Aram here, but the arrow lands onto the decoy. That was up for a while. Hans is just standing still, realizing, emoting that he made a small mistake there. Shouldn't be too long with this back up, but Yike has a lot of damage.
Level
levels
14.
Up. 3 levels up on Xerxe right now. The Baron helps a lot, but it's just an Aram for this mid tower. Caps get a lot of damage here, though.
Vetheo now locked up. Hansama trying to finish the kill. Vetheo flashing out to safety and chasing him down. Will it get the job done? Just out of range. Hansama taking down Patrik in the meantime, however. Tower getting cut through.
Mikyx.
Mikyx up to the side, just trying to stop the back. That's a bouncy grenade. 1, 2, and 3 will only catch Targamas.
Yeah, just stopping Vetheo's base. He doesn't have TP. They're looking for mid tower now. The adventures of Mikyx continue towards bot.
BrokenBlade can just walk forward, fish for the stun. Third Q is available. Unstoppable now, trying to push it back out to safety. The lockdown is going to be there. Pulls him back away. Nice dodge. Now he's trying to finish off Mikyx. Now leaving the way back to the rest of his team. BrokenBlade trying to finish it. He's just getting embarrassed. Oh, a bit of revenge, but no! Not today! BrokenBlade still finding the kill.
Does eventually pick up Odoamne, but it's a 2-for-1, a bit of a scuff dive there. They had Zhonya's to drop aggro, but Mikyx can't tank it. Don't know if he had the stopwatch, but it wouldn't matter because then he would go back to BrokenBlade and he'd fall. So small outplay there for Excel helps him hold on against his Baron buff G2. They lost mid tower, but that's about it. You saw Yike pushing top. He's split pushing on Graves at this point, Drakos. Yeah. 4,000 gold lead, huge level lead, experience close to level 15. Same level as his mid laner.
This is an 8k gold lead, Caedrel. The early game was close, G2 were favored. Yike died, it brought Excel back. Excel making some plays across the map, brought it back a little bit, but G2 have just been taking over. This mid game has been phenomenal. Finding so many of these picks, Hansama just burning through Patrick's health bar, as Vetheo is also running for his life from a Viktor ultimate.
I just love how Hans just W's and then stands still knowing that he's going to die. Good guys don't look at explosions. So here's the bot dive, which Mikyx just walked into. I think the only thing he can contribute here is a stun, and that's exactly what he does, but it's on the ult, which is unstoppable, so he basically can't do anything. The turrets are doing a little bit, but then he gets tower aggro and dies. Nice movement here from BrokenBlade to dodge this Q, and then jump in to make sure it's a 1-for-1. For him at least. He was going to die no matter what. So G2 keeping up the pressure. Baron buff has fallen off, I believe. They're trying to get some bot side vision.
Back to live here. Caps, of course, with the Roa passive, able to zoom around here, gets a lot of these little movement speed steroids, walk in, poke, and then immediately walk out. Unstoppable now. Odoamne running out to safety. Big damage coming in from the Viktor. Excel forced to retreat. Caps, and the rest of G2 just taking total control of the jungle while BrokenBlade breaks down the mid tier 2. G2 so incredibly far ahead. Difficult for Excel to match at all. If anyone steps up to the wave, very likely they will be stunned up and taken out.
G2 are just putting so much pressure on the map. They're 4v4, 4v5, but maybe Excel can respond now.
Coming in, this could be a huge opportunity. Caps goes golden, buys a brief moment, but the rest of the team is down here. Odoamne in the area. Odoamne needs to go massive if they want to win this. Patrik still standing, but Yike flashes in and takes him out. Odoamne on the backside trying to finish off Mikyx desperately. One more Q, he's going to get it. Odoamne holding on to hope for Excel. Targamas and Vetheo off to the backside, need to get away from BrokenBlade. He's so incredibly strong. Excel finding a brief glimmer of hope, but BrokenBlade looking to take it away. That's the stun, that's the follow-up from Yike. BrokenBlade how long in the leap strike, that's it! BrokenBlade chasing for a little bit more. A sad B from Targamas. That might have been the last punch left for Excel as BrokenBlade and Yike push into the bottom lane.
It was close until Yike and BrokenBlade just stood tall and fought back. The only damage left was Vetheo. Odoamne can't really answer this. They're going to get this bot inhibitor. Caps has TP in 15 seconds. Patrick's up in 10, but I think they can just walk out afterwards. See if Excel want to take the fight. Top support versus top and jungle. Jhin W lands. Here comes Xerxe. BrokenBlade, no flash. Can't jump towards Yike though.
Ooh, on the smoke screen. Just stopping any potential follow-up there. Well played by G2, extending the gold lead. 10k now in their favor. Objective bounties on the side of Excel, but they're going to need a lot of them if they want to bring this one back. It is going to get harder and harder for them. No flash for Odoamne, no flash for Xerxe in the next fight.
There's just so many threats. You kill Caps on the Viktor, who's scaling so strong and is playing so far up. Then you've got Hans to deal with. Hans falls, then you've got Yike to deal with, and then BrokenBlade is fourth in line to actually be a target for Excel. So they use so many ults. There's the Syndra ult onto Hans. There's the Wukong ult onto the backline of G2. But once you think you've got the carries, here come Yike and BrokenBlade. And despite being in kind of like a 2v3 scenario, because Mikyx can't offer anything, they still win. Xerxe looking for Mikyx again.
One all stack used, he's getting cut down. He has to dash out to safety. Varus ult is going to connect onto one. Mikyx very, very low. Arrow going in. Xerxe gonna spin his way around that one. But Excel burning so many cooldowns just to check the Baron area.
Yeah, 20 seconds on the spawn. I think G2 want to start it as soon as it does. Excel needs some vision. Targamas is looking for it. Has no flash though, so it's really difficult for him to walk up unless they have blue orb. Xerxe is in base. Midway's gonna get pushed in. Caps has TP. Dragon is up, which is the easy option here, and it looks like that's what G2 are going towards.
Patrik poking a bit here, playing with fire though. Still confident enough to step up. And right now, Caedrel, I just want to look at the jungle for a second. Because that's a 5.5k gold lead.
That is a 5.5k gold lead.
And not just for the memes, but that's insane.
It is insane. No, it's 5.6. Memes ruined.
Memes ruined. But G2, I mean, setting up Yike for success. It's very clear to see. So many pushing lanes, allowing him to do whatever he wants on this Graves, and it's been working out very well. But even if Yike had a few hiccups here across this game, the team more than happy to pick up the slack and really make this work. Now for Excel, we're in miracle territory, folks. If they bring this back, should be impossible. But every time we say that, it seems like teams find a way.
So So Baron picked up. Here comes the siege again from G2. Last time we saw them with this buff, they went a little bit too deep on the bot dive and gave up a little bit of their pressure. So they're just going to base here, set up the waves. Top tier 2 looks like an easy objective for them. Go for some kind of 4-1 in top side. And I feel like the solo lanes of Excel did pretty well. You know, Odoamne got a solo kill. He got close to killing him twice. Again, Vetheo was under a lot of pressure, but the gold's pretty even between him and Caps. It's just the jungle bot lane, the way they played together here for G2, just outclassed Excel, and there was nothing that they could do to respond. Maybe they think it's from draft because the Graves and the pushing bot is just too strong for Excel to deal with, but that was the crutch of the game for them. And now into this late game, it's going to become even more difficult. Poke Varus barely pushing 3 items. The Ashe scaling so well. With the Baron buff, they can just shoot out an Laure and just chunk someone else.
Arrow, gonna hit the clone. Incredibly crucial that Xerxe has that ability that can block that arrow. Void Staff now coming in for Vetheo. 3 items may be enough to burst through some of these tankier members, but Caps now with the Zhonya's as well. You got 2 Zhonya's. You got a stopwatch on everybody else. G2 investing that extra gold into a bit of stasis makes perfect sense. This is the thing that's so difficult about falling behind like this in League of Legends. You're not only behind in items when you don't have these actives like a stopwatch, like a Zhonya's. Team fighting feels impossible.
The Varus will use just to chunk out Yike, but look at his health bar. I don't think he minds too much, so that's Caps stepping forwards.
Okay, that's a little bit brutal. Odoamne now going to try to punish onto Caps. He can go golden. He can use the stopwatch, and he's holding on to it for now as the tower falls.
He can TV back.
Odoamne holding on, trying to hold the line, but they're just tickling them. BrokenBlade barely taking any damage. They're going to finish off Odoamne, and that should just be it. Here comes a full health Caps. TPing into the mid lane, looking to keep the momentum going. The early game a bit back and forth. But the level 1 in total control for the G2 bottom lane. It's been snowballed throughout the entire game. Finally, they will kill Mikyx. But it looks like they're going to get very little else. BrokenBlade leaping in, going to deny at least 1 ultimate. He wants a few more kills. He's popping off. He should still die here. Stun going to go in. No, how did he do it? The Nexus towers are playing against Excel. It's a 6v5. They went from close game to montage power hour here for the side of G2, but the new roster looking strong, looking fresh, looking clean, a confident first game from G2.
It was a 4-level lead for Yike in the end, a 7,000 gold lead for him as an individual. It was an absolute whitewash, and despite the kill score being close, the pressure was not. G2 very happy with Yike in his debut.
Have to be. Couple small issues here and there, but overall, a lot of the strengths we've seen from previous G2 rosters showing up here. Confidence in that 2v2, that level 1 running forward into the minion wave to drop another Heimer turret. Have not seen that before. I have a feeling Excel have not seen it either, as they just absolutely obliterated Patrik's health bar and really snowballed a lot off of that early pressure.
And it's a new look for G2, playing so heavily through bots. Completely new style. Caps will have to adapt, BrokenBlade will have to adapt, not as much resources towards the top side of the map, and playing in isolation now, BB, at times. Yike did counter-gank, actually helped the 1v1 a couple of times, but G2 very happy. Lots of G2 fans here who are very happy with their performance.
Here we are, the high fives. Congrats, Yike. Oh, okay, now I gotta give them to everyone.
We're gonna get high fives every time now.
There it is.
There's the adventures of Mikyx have come to an end. The chapter is closed. The book is finished.
Around.
Stay tuned for episode 2.
They got to nerf. I forgot to read the 13.2 patch notes because I know they're not. Are they nerfing Heimer?
I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head, but they're nerfing things like Yumi and Zeri and things like this, which is great. Not sure if there's direct Heimer nerfs, but I don't think we'll see that patch for a few weeks here in the LEC.
We won't. We've got at least 2 more weeks of this, all the way till week 3. I believe going into week 4, we'll see a best of 3s is when we're going to see that. In the meantime, though, seems like G2 have at least a few cards up their sleeves. We've seen the Ashe Heimer before. Being able to play it admirably does make your team that much more threatening.
Does indeed, and you have to ask what kind of other junglers can Yike do this on. We've seen Graves now.
Yep.
We can see their style is very jungle bot focused, pushing bot and farming jungler, anything that can carry, any kind of carry jungler that can farm quickly. What else can he slot in? Are we going to see things like Viego slotted in? Are we going to see things like Nidalee and Lilia, perhaps? We'll see how far he goes down this rabbit hole of carry junglers, and maybe he plays supportive junglers as well. More styles always helps.
And I think that it's not the biggest thing that we always talk about, but it is something that I think has to be in the back of Yike's mind, is you're filling big shoes here. Yep. Filling Yankos' spot is tough, and so I think trying to fill it by being the guy who plays Jarvan, by being the guy who plays Engage, you're making it so hard on yourself. But if you're the guy who plays carries really well, really consistently, that's something new for G2. That's something new for the org that they have not had. No discredit to Yankos, but obviously
Yeah.
If Yike can be on another level, that would be a massive boon to the team overall and something that we can look at as we progress through the season.
He kind of grew in the game. We saw, you know, a little bit of jitters at the start, didn't get the kill with the flash, died on the Raptors, but as the game progressed, he got into his comfort zone.
Yeah. And of course, you can vote at LEC on Twitter for your player of the game. Your candidates are Yike, Sama, and Mikyx. A lot of good options.
I would go for Mickey just because of the Heimer walk.
The Heimer level 1. Oh, the
Heimer
walk?
level 1.
The animation. He made that animation.
Yes, it's his now.
All right. Whatever. And let's send it over to Laure, who's on stage with G2's Mikyx.
Patented.
Thank you, Drakos. And Mickey, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. Lots of fans cheering for you today, but I want to know, how is it to be back in this colors? Kind of a deja vu.
Yeah,
Like this.
it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Feels good to be back and have all the people here cheering for us. It was very loud. I got here during the pause as well. So yeah, feels good overall.
Dominating game from you as well. I mean, I was talking about this backstage. They turn around, you're here. They look at top lane, you're here. They open the fridge, you're here as well. Tell me about this game for you and the aggressiveness from your Heimerdinger here.
Yeah, so basically early lane went really well for us because usually with Jhin Varus lanes, you want to have push, and they didn't really even try it. Like level 1 we went 5 bot, right, because we want to get the push. But they were not there, so then we got the push, and then we could kind of control the game from there. We invaded Wukong, so we had a lot of pressure, and at some point, Hans had the shield bow, and he said he can probably 2v1, so I just had a lot of free time. I didn't really use my free time that well, I think, so I was a bit under-leveled in the end, and I was getting one shot all the time. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
You guys made it work in the end anyway. I have to say, it feels really good seeing you reunited with Sama on the bot lane. Tell me about him choosing you, basically, and wanting to play with you again, but also reforming an old synergy with a mate you used to know.
Yeah, I mean, it felt really nice. I mean, I was kind of planning to play with him as well at some point again, and it was nice that he chose me, because otherwise, probably I would not be here. So yeah, I appreciate it, and I also like that, you know, G2 decided to just trust their AD carry and go with whoever he wants to play with. And if he didn't choose me, I'll be like, yeah, I mean, fair enough, you know. But yeah, I think me and Steven are really good. I think even 2018, I felt like we were really good together. I think now we're even better. And a lot of people think Steven doesn't talk much because he's a more like shy person, but this guy talks all the time. Like,
he talks a lot.
Like in game.
Is he driving you in lane, actually?
Yeah, of course. I'm getting micromanaged.
Oh my God, that is amazing. But you were mentioning the fact that you were working well when you played together in 2018. And looking at the way you guys played today, aggressive, playing forward and everything, it feels like the synergy is still there. But how different are you? How different is Steven, especially?
I think Steven is just more aggressive in the variety of champions. Before he had like a few champions that he just like took over the game. If he was ahead, he would 24/7 shot call. But now he just does it with every champion.
Yeah.
So that's a big improvement. And I feel like I also contribute a lot more to the game than just like following, I guess. So yeah, I think we both evolved a lot since 2018. And I think we will show it this year.
Yeah, really looking forward to see how far you guys can go. Bit of overreactions here, because I was looking at Twitter and people are already saying that this iteration of G2 might surpass maybe the 2019 version of G2 in the sense that you may have the best player at every lane. Of course, it's still early to make conclusions on this. But what do you say about this? Because you lived through the golden days of G2 as well.
I mean, I can definitely see it. That's one of the reasons why I joined this roster as well, because I actually believe that we can be the best and winning Worlds is the goal. And I think we can actually do it with this team. I think it's the most comfortable I've ever been in any team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this year.
Well, nice to see that everything is going well. Mickey, thank you so much for the interview. Good luck.
Thank you.
Tomorrow for your next game. And Vedi, back to you for more on this game.
Thank you very much, Laure. I have the privilege of being joined by Yike. Welcome very much. Welcome, Yike, to the LEC. How do you feel after your first game?
Feels amazing. I mean, it was a bit sad first blood, but after that, I feel like I played well, and I'm really happy with it.
Well, we can talk a little bit about that because I'm going to get your insight to talk me through some of the logic that you had in this early game. You started on red buff and you pathed towards bot. Tell me as a jungler, when you come into these games, as we roll this clip, what are you thinking? Where is your brain at when you're thinking about what you want to do in the early game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a really good plan level 1. I think we know exactly what we wanted to do. And I think I planned myself, like, we need to track every vision they do. And we have the plan to punish bots because this bot matchup, I guess we can punish easily. So, I mean, I communicate well with my bot lane, I think. And I feel like we play it like really well together. Like, I feel like I'm really free on the map and I can play in enemy jungle like it's my jungle.
Right.
That's really nice.
So I'm going to pause it very quickly here. You put a ward down on the red buff, and I'm curious, I want to get your insight here. What's the decision-making between not stealing away the red versus taking the Krogs, getting the level up, diving? How do you make the decision as to what your priority is?
Yeah, so I wanted to do Krogs because I want level 3. I'm not sure if I get it on red buff. Actually, wait.
Because you did red Raptors, you probably wouldn't get the level 3 on the red,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I did Krogs, level 3. And then I just decided, like, okay, if he's going to do red, I can punish him. If he's not going to do red, I can look to dive bot as well. There's like a lot of things we can do here. And that's why I think it's like a really good case for us. And like we have so many possibilities.
Right. So as we roll this clip out now, the communication I imagine between you and Mikyx is, it depends on what the bot lane does, as how you react?
Yeah.
Okay, so the pressure is consistent, and now you get a bit of information here that Xerxe is going to move into the jungle, that you spot him on this ward. What's the decision-making here when you realize, hey, we actually might be able to pick a fight with the Wukong?
Yeah, so we see he's going to skip the red buff after Raptors. So we know he's going to try to come behind bot, and I will just wait for him. I think I will try to call Mikyx to come as well, and I think we'll try to burst him, maybe force a flash, which we did, and that was like really good. And then afterwards, we could like keep punishing bot. We could keep him, like we could take red for free because he can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then we just maybe dive bot if they're low enough. So it's like really good punish.
So the thing that amazed us when we were watching this was your first LEC game, new team. How do you even have this level of synergy this quickly already?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like everyone in the team is like, it's such a good mood in the team. Everyone is playing well together. We have like a really good team synergy, and it's like everything is like going well for us. So I guess it's just easy for us, kind of.
That's great. So it wouldn't be the LEC if we didn't meme you a little bit. So if we can fast forward to the first blood from Yike, talk me through what the logic is here and how you actually end up dying, because you and Mikyx are looking to try and set up a play towards like enemy Raptors. Obviously, you're doing a lot of punishment and great stuff on the bot side of the map, but it feels like that you get a little too over-aggressive when you do actually end up dying in this first play.
Yeah, I might have been a bit too hype when we played this game, so
Yeah.
I just really wanted to take his Raptors, and I guess I didn't think so much about the Syndra with the QE combo, so I got a bit punished, and I mean, it was my bad. I just fucked up.
It's okay. Sorry. You get one. You get one.
Sorry. And yeah, I mean, I think it was just a simple mistake by me, and it happens, you know?
Yeah, of course it happens. And we're not going to hold this against you, not at all. But obviously, it's good to be able to look back and laugh at some of the mistakes that you do make. But overall, great performance, Yike. Really impressive stuff from your very first game. And now we're going to send it over to the desk to break down the rest of the game. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, you both. That was wonderful. When Vedius and Yike were talking about it, he was like, oh, all I could think was like, they're going to spam Yikes. It's so annoying. Like, my nickname is I'm sure they did, but hey.
No, that doesn't sound like Twitch chat.
Not at all.
They're super wholesome, super nice.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure there wasn't a single comment.
Oh, this is so great. I get so happy when we have new players who immediately are like, yeah, I'll go on a telestrator and explain stuff. And he was wonderful as well. And I think in game as well. So let's talk a little bit about G2 and how they made this happen. Indeed, the synergy was pretty good, I would say, from a first one, especially the adventures of Yike and Mikyx.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that it's built up as well from the early game. As he said, from level 1, we knew exactly what we wanted. Heimerdinger, absolute focus. You got the comment, you just drop the turrets down, you just start all attacking them. It doesn't even matter about the setup. Come in, have the slow and Ashe autos, you get lane power. Great. Now you have a lane that can stack up a wave. I can skip my camps here. And I think the presence of mind from Yike should just not be like, all right, let me just get the red and get out of here, but continue with his bot lane to create plays that not only opens up dives, but enables them to counteract on Xerxe afterwards as well. It's just like, he's not just thinking about one game plan. He's thinking about multiple at the same time. That's enabling his team in so many possibilities. I am beyond... I can't even believe this was how the first game panned out from Yike in the beginning. And I was a firm believer of him. I watched the entire NFL with him. I was like, this guy's good. I didn't realize, he was going to be this good in his first game.
He was amazing, and I think, too, the rest of G2 did everything in their power to set him up to play in exactly the way he wanted to play, right? You talk about the level 1 fight. All it does is give them this huge early push that then he's bouncing off of. But the ganks and the consistent damage forcing them to the base, it keeps this bot lane priority that then we have Mikyx moving up. Mikyx was always holding hands in the jungle with Yike to look for the invade plays. Then we saw in both solo lanes the call from from G2 to be, we're going to fight really aggressively, right?
Yeah.
Like Perks hit level 9, and I think just unloaded his entire kit in the mid lane, got the enemy just super low.
Yeah, did you just, how stuck are you?
Guys, it's been a while since I've been on the LEC. I'm so sorry. Anyways, Caps throws everything down there, and it doesn't result in a kill, but Mickey and Yike were both trying to come around there at the exact same time. We saw it top lane too. BrokenBlade obviously ends up dying to Odoamne, so can't say I didn't call it there. But it's all about these very aggressive trades to set up for Yike to come around.
No, and also just it's the kind of compositions you've built where you allow yourself to be aggressive like this, because everything is so long range, and because your CC is not conditional, but you can just fire it across straight from downtown, baby, into the mid lane. And every Ashe support will do this in every single game. I don't know if they're not expecting it from Hans Sommer, but it's super hard to react to as well. Like when it comes out of Fog of War, you're not really ready for it. And they can continue doing this every single time. Into the follow-up of a grenade afterwards, into the flash from Yike. It's the fact that they're relentless and they're not hesitating at all whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
They see the kill, they go for the kill, old Moscow 5 style.
And this is a game where both teams had fairly similar comps, right? Like very squishy sides, lots of like long range engage. The difference is like a Jhin maybe a little bit harder to execute, less demanding of a kill than an Ashe arrow. But the fact that G2 were always the ones with priority, the fact that they were the ones with vision inside the enemy jungle, it gave them way more windows in which to look for those picks that simply on the other side could not be matched.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with Mikyx as well, right? His return, spending a lot of time getting that vision as well, teaming up with Yike, making it happen. I think those are all good signs. And I think the comments that Laure referred to in terms of like, oh, I saw someone saying maybe better
We're
than
saving
2019
overreactions for
G2.
tomorrow.
And then
Relax.
Mickey's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. One final thing, though, before we go. You said you saw this play, and you said, oh, Odoamne, they did you dirty because of Koi, because you absolutely are
I think I said something of like biggest loss of the offseason was Koi getting rid of Odoamne. He still got it, got the solo kill, didn't even need the Ornn, made it happen.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because after the break, we're going to look forward to Koi's debut here in the LEC versus Team BDS. Here you can see the players arriving in just a bit. Yeah, and I heard that a particular team is here to ensure that you're well fed.
Huh.
We got one order of Koi bottling, quick!